Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com, and this is a ranty McRanterson. So I don't want to skew super negative. I want to try to make this as positive as possible, but there's been so much talk about gear, about dynamic range, about what camera sucks and what camera is great and what camera can do this and what camera can do that. And yes, I'll be honest, I perpetuate gear talk, but I try to do it in a different way where I talk about how the gear can help you get the type of work or the shoots or the photos that you want to get. But let's talk about what photography comes down to and what all the commenters and so many reviewers and so many people are forgetting about when all they talk about is specs and dynamic range and how many focusing points and how many this and how many that a camera has. No matter what camera you put in your hands, if you do not understand the fundamentals, the basics of photography, the building blocks of what it takes to make an image, then I don't give a shit what camera you have, what lenses you have, what gear that you have, what accessories that you have. You are not going to get consistent quality results because you don't know what you're doing. It doesn't matter the dynamic range of your camera. I could take a camera, and many people that could take a camera from 15 years ago and still get quality results. It's the person behind the camera that gets the great images because they know what they're doing. Now, I always say that I like to use the best of the best gear because it allows me to use what I know about photography, composition, exposures, and situations, and my vast knowledge of being in many different situations. The gear allows me to pull out stuff that so many other people wouldn't be able to capture because I can push it to the extreme based off of everything that I know about photography and the lighting and the composition. But where so many people are going wrong is that they won't buy a camera or they won't buy something because somebody said, oh, it's not good, the dynamic range is terrible. Well, those are the wrong things to worry about. And yes, the quality of cameras do matter, and at some point, like I just said, but it comes down to, do you know what you're doing? If you understand shutter speed, aperture, exposure, composition, you have an understanding for how to build an exposure and to capture a moment, then I don't give a shit what you shoot with. Because at the end of the day, nobody is sitting there looking at your winning picture and going, what was the dynamic range of that camera? Because it looks to be slightly off in the shadows. No, because a winning picture is a winning picture is a winning picture no matter what you do. So what you need to understand, and this is the positive thing, guys, that I don't care if you've been shooting for 6 months or 2 years or 4 years, you still may not fully understand the fundamentals or grasp what it takes to capture a great image, and you're working your way towards that. Photography is not easy. It just doesn't happen overnight. I've been shooting since I was 13 years old and I'm 36 now. And it took me almost a decade to get out of auto. It took me forever to get out of auto. Why is that the case? Because I just didn't get it. It didn't click for a long time. But once I was able to take control of my camera, no matter what camera I was using, I was able to get fantastic results because I understood the exposure triangle. I understood composition. Now, let me say this. If you're out there, I don't care if you shoot in full auto. I don't care if you shoot in JPEG, if you're just starting out. Whatever gets you to see the world and capture it is all that I care about. And over time, you will start to get into those manual modes or the less than full auto, like aperture priority and shutter priority. And then at some point, it all completely clicks and you go full manual in terms of exposure because you just start to get it. You see the world and you capture it, and you will get there. The more you shoot, the more you experiment, the better off you will be. And I don't care if you're using a 10-year-old DSLR or you're using the latest DSLR out there. If you don't know what you're doing, you're not going to get great results. I'd rather give somebody the most basic of cameras to learn in full auto and let them do that for 6 months. Go and shoot whatever you want and enjoy that. And then I can teach you everything you need to know about getting out of auto. I can teach you how to get the shots in 3 shots or less because you will understand the fundamentals. Once you understand the fundamentals, that's it. The fundamentals don't change. Remember that. The fundamentals have not changed since day one. Shutter speed, aperture, ISO, those things all work in tandem. They work in tandem 50 years ago, they're going to work in tandem 50 years from now. That stuff doesn't change. So once you get an understanding of the fundamentals, you can go out there and capture amazing images. It's not about the gear. The gear is helpful, yes, but there's way too much bullshit going on with people complaining about cameras they've never touched, cameras they've never seen, cameras they'll never own, yet they'll tell you that it sucks. No, the person who sucks because they can't get a good photograph is most likely the person behind it. If I get a bad image because I don't know what I'm doing, it's my fault. It's not the camera's fault. It's not the lens's fault. It's not the dynamic range's fault. It's not Nikon, Sony, Canon, Pentax, Olympus, Fuji, whoever else makes cameras, Apple. It's not their fault you got a bad picture. It's your fault because you don't understand the fundamentals. So I implore you to understand the fundamentals, block out all the bullshit out there, and go shoot with whatever you have. Get great results, because at the end of the day, people don't care about what gear you're using, except for when they're in the comments trying to say ask you what gear you were using. People don't care about that. A winning shot is a winning shot is a winning shot. Understand the basics and fundamentals, and you're going to be on your way to getting winning shots. That's it. It's not the gear. Shoot with whatever you have. There's not one camera that's going to help you get a better picture than the other one if you don't get the fundamentals down. That's it. Ranty over. No, Ranty McRanterson over. Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya.